Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. Yes, that was a hello from Cleo, my cat. So we are here to do a live reaction to our movie night selection, and we are back on our original nights of Friday. Happy Friday. How y'all doing out here from Miami? It has been good weather today, no rain, just sunshine. September the 23rd. Good Night Mommy. Now, Good Night Mommy that we're watching today is an American version of this movie. This movie originally premiered in 2015 under its Austrian version, and it received good reviews. And I do remember watching a couple of recaps of the Austrian version, so I already kind of know the backstory of this film and how it plays out, but I am curious to see how the American remake is gonna do, because the first one was good, but the first one left you with a lot of questions. It did not end or play out with a straightforward approach. This one is kind of doing the same thing. But okay, spoiler alert, going into this about 3 minutes already, there's only one son living, okay? Even though we see twins throughout this film, one of the twins has unfortunately passed away. This movie is really focusing on how a child handles grief and the loss of a sibling. And in this kid's case, which is Elias, he's lost his twin brother Lucas, and he still lives as if Lucas is still alive. He will not come to terms or believe that his brother has passed. And you have a mother played by Naomi Watts who is dealing with the grief very differently, maybe more harshly than she should. She, this is what I've seen so far in this movie as well. She is not attentive as I think a mother should be nurturing to her kid who has to deal with this as well. She has, I believe, almost dealt with it. Like, of course, she hasn't gotten over it, but she has come to terms with the loss. And she, at this point, expects her son, Elias, to do the same thing. Now, here's the kicker. She has had surgery on her face, some type of face augmentation. And that's what really sets off the brother to be like, this is not my mom, because he's already suffering this loss. So he's kind of had a mental break. And so now he really believes like, oh, this is not my mom. She doesn't act the same. And that's because what we see, the audience, is that the mom is trying to push her son to come to grips with reality. Get over it. Your brother's dead. You have to admit this out loud. You have to come to terms that there is no longer a we. Your twin brother is gone. So, but his world and his universe, his mother is no longer alive. She's an impostor. Someone has taken over her body. She's not the same. She doesn't sing the lullaby to me no more when I go to bed. She ripped up my picture that I gave her, which I signed with me and my brother's name on it to her. She's the one who's not acting right. So we have two polar opposites view of how to deal with loss, how to deal with losing a loved one. We have 39 minutes left. This is, by the way, supposed to be like a psychological horror movie, and it is kind of horrific seeing how things end. So let's watch how it ends. Amazon Prime is where you can find this movie at. Goodnight Mommy. I am I have 39 minutes left. I'm going to press play and tell you the minute mark. From beginning to end, this movie is 92 minutes. And if you pay attention, you can really see where the sibling is not real, because the sibling is not acknowledged by the mom throughout the movie. It's just little things, like, of course, you know, her only fixing one son something to drink, or her only addressing and sitting next to one son instead of sitting right between her sons if there was two of them. And there's a really freaky scene where Elias is having a dream, a nightmare really, that his mom's skin peels off and she's an alien underneath. That I don't think is in the first one. And now he's witnessing his mom lie about his lip, which is what she caused, because he ran away from home. They don't even have a pool, do they? And see, Elias in reality is being influenced by his delusion of seeing his brother. So in his head, he is consciously hearing and talking to his brother, as well as responding to his own thoughts, which is scary because he's actually playing both roles, kind of speak. And his brother Lucas in the afterlife is a little shit, because he is like really persuading his living brother that, you know, that's not mom and she's an imposter. If she was mom, she would do this. He even told Elias, which is Elias talking to himself technically, that if she's our mother, then prove it to me. In some shots too, you don't see a shadow from Lucas, so that's another indication that he's not alive. Now, in the Austrian version, he didn't get found by the police. He got found by a priest. And the priest drove him back to the house. But in this one, it was the police. Oh, and she's showing her face now. Prior to this, she didn't show her face. But she took her bandages off since the police was there. So, sad situation all the way around. Let me tell you. Oh. Oh, here we go. The action is taking off. He has strapped her to the bed. And we see mom's skin is messed up. That must be some strong duct tape.
Arms are for you. My eyes? Alice, that's my headshot.
She had contacts.
Work through my personal space. Look at me. My eyes are blue. Not giving up on Mom. Jesus Christ! Fuck! Where is she? Do not do that to me again. You hear me? Now get those scissors. Shit! I swear to God, when I get up, you are so... Where is she? How many ways do I have to say it? I'm right here, Alias. I fed you. I raised you. I stayed up at night with you. I did everything to make you happy. I'm your fucking mother. Look, we're wasting our time. She's just gonna be wrong and making up excuses. Are you even listening to me? Jesus, what now? Our mom doesn't throw away our drawings. She keeps them all, even the bad ones. Okay. She saves them in a shoebox in the back of her closet. No! No, moms don't do this. Moms put band-aids on cuts. Moms play games with their kids. Moms sing their voice to sleep at night. Moms...
Yeah, that's where you messed up at. But where is Dr. Phil when you need him? I mean, geez, this family just needs therapy. That's all. Because he has no concept of life or death. He has no concept of what adults go through and how they deal with grief. He just needs therapy.
You know it's me. This entire time. I need to leave. Alice, what are you doing? Looking for the purse. Why? She said her contacts are in there. But she's lying. We can't believe a word she says. We need to be sure. thing I do is fine.
I swear to you, all she had to do was start singing the freaking song. And I think this would have diffused the situation. But it's natural. You're going to be upset with your kid. Oh, this is so scary. Oh.
Guess what? You're under arrest. Is there a copy of your bag?
We're going to grab me another thing.
Oh. Can they hear her?
She went up. The girl, she's a lot younger than me. Means I can't so. You're such a bad liar. Hi, neighbor. Where are they? I forgot my toothbrush.
That's probably I think that is a different approach to the Austrian one, because in that version they tortured that mom. They super glued her lips closed, and then once it dried they would cut her lips open and they burned her, and they tortured that lady. In this one, he just threw cold ice water on her and tied her up and gagged her. And then now I think he's having like a break where he's admitting like he knows that she's his mom, but he still thinks Lucas is here. Because he's telling her like, oh, it's Lucas's fault. Lucas was the one telling me you weren't real. But I don't think he's ready to go see where his brother died. Okay, I'm just saying. Because from what I saw in the trailer, I'm not for certain. I think, and from what I saw in the movie, because she told them there was rules when they first got there to visit her. They couldn't go in the barn. They couldn't go in her office or her bedroom. And not too much noise and not too much sunlight, because she's recovering from her surgery. Well, he snuck into the barn, and upstairs in the barn was where they used to play, I guess, as kids, him and his brother. And then there was a hole in the wood and a bucket. It looks like where somebody was trying to clean up some blood. So I'm assuming from that Lucas died from a gunshot wound. Maybe he shot himself by accident. Or maybe Elias shot him by accident, and he just doesn't want to remember it. It's too harsh, because when she did find him in the barn, she flipped. So now she's taking him to the barn, and I think that's a little bit too much. Like, baby steps here, baby steps. Where is freaking Dr. Phil? And by the way, where is the freaking dad? We got introduced to the dad in this one. Okay, the dad dropped off the kids, didn't go inside the house, He told Elias that, I don't think your mom wants to see me. Have not heard from this dad, have not seen this dad since these boys been at the house. Which is strange. For a dad that, was only on screen for 2 minutes, his character did come off like he was supposed to be like this caring dad. I mean, they've been in his custody for a minute. So it's like, if they were going to change the movie like that, they should have at least had the dad come back at least once, like to maybe check on them, to give it that more of a suspense. Well, not more, because this movie has its suspense, but just that next little thrill. I will say we'll talk about it. Let me see how this plays out, because he actually is up there in the barn. I just think it might have been too soon for this, but it's not paint.
I don't know what you do, Elise. You know what it is. Now I need you to say it. Please, Elise, no more.
Oh, it's pronounced Elias? I was saying Elias. It's pronounced Elias.
I'm watching you talking to him all the time, playing with him. Listen to me. It was
This kid is acting his ass off right now. Okay, there you go. I knew it. He shot his brother by accident. He didn't know the gun was loaded. Playing with a gun. But he doesn't want to admit that it happened.
We decided we explained it to you. That way we would never have to say one again.
And she tore the paper in 2 pieces.
You and me are the same. That's what makes us lucky. I can never hurt you, and you can never hurt me. The line between reality and fantasy, it's vanished.
Yes, it has. That should, if she could admit out loud as a mom that her son's perception of reality has vanished, that should be a very red flag. He needs help. Oh. Okay, well, that's how she dies in this one. This guy's just an accidental little killer, isn't he? He accidentally killed his brother, and he pushed his mom off the 2nd floor, and she's dead now, and the barn is on fire. So he accidentally killed his mom. Now he's gonna sit and think that his mom is still alive. Poor, I hope he don't go back to his dad, because his dad's gonna have a hard time. He just left his mom's body in there, huh? Well, I can say this. The American version, they copped out. They did not have the balls that the Austrian version had. The Austrian version was really horrific how they took their mother out. Like, they went out convicted. Well, Elias went out convicted. Like, you are not my mom. He tortured her. And they showed him set her on fire. Like, we saw her body get flamed up. And then him pack a bag and leave that house. Apparently. But the ending was left for interpretation that he might have stayed in the house and just burned with his mom. And everybody met in the afterlife. Like we're seeing now. That the mom is dead and the brother is dead and now... But it's always been this interpretation that Elias died in the Austrian version. In this one, I don't think he's dead. I think he's still alive, and I think he has fell off the deep end now. It's no coming back. He is probably going to need to be admitted for the rest of his life, or until at least he grows up and comes to terms with the loss of his family. Because now he's seen his mom and his brother and they're hugging. All one big happy family. So he's a goner. Goner. And that's how it ends. Isn't that great? So it did try to do the whole open door, left to interpretation type ending as the original one was done, but it wasn't well played out in my opinion, because in the other one, even though there was, you left questioning like, oh, well, is he alive? Is Elias not alive? Oh my God. And then the way it was set up in the Austrian version, you really didn't know Lucas was dead. Now, I will say in defense that because, like I said earlier in this live, that I saw the recap of the Austrian version, I knew he wasn't dead. But even if I hadn't saw that movie, I still would know before this movie ended, oh, his brother died. He ain't real. I would have figured it out because it's obvious. In the original version, it's not obvious. In the international one, it's not obvious. I will say I do like how they approached the son and the mom's relationship at the end, as far as him actually confronting that his brother is gone. He passed. It's nothing we can do to bring him back. He actually went to the barn to actually face it head on. And I like that part of this version. I do. I think it was a less horrific approach and a more emotional, personal touch to the movie. This movie did not have any horror in it to me. It had a lot of suspense. And, it kept you on the, ooh, what's going to happen? But I didn't have a jump scare. The only moment I was freaked out is when, like I said, Elias was dreaming and, having a nightmare. And because it was a nightmare. I'm telling you, it was nasty. And the mother was doing her toes and she freaking peeled off all her skin. Like, ew, that was good because that freaked me out. But it's not scary at all. It's nothing compared to the Austrian version. I will say, if you want to see Goodnight Mommy on Amazon Prime, try to find the 2015 version and watch that one first. Do yourself justice. It is good. If you really want to see the scary version and you want to see the real horror, watch that version. If you just nope, Don't want to watch that. I think I can go without all that torture. I think I can go without seeing a lady get set on fire and seeing her son just turn totally batshit crazy. And watch this one. Watch this version. Okay? American version on Amazon Prime came out this year, starring Naomi Watts. It's not a bad movie, and I'm actually shocked. This movie has no trivia on it. It does highlight the cast. The twins are played by the Crovetti twins, Nicholas and Cameron Crovetti. The father, who we only saw for 2 minutes, was played by Peter Herman. And the producers of the Austrian version did help with the production of this one. So they did have some say-so, and they did help with the efforts of getting this one out. Let me go see, because I just thought maybe it's just too new, and that's why there's no behind-the-scenes information on this movie. But I just find that still strange by it being a remake that there's nothing on it. Oh, they said Naomi Watts was even skeptical about doing this remake. Let's see what the reviews say. This has a 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb. Critics do not believe this movie should have even been remade. And that's no disrespect to Naomi Watts. They feel like she's a great actor, and I do too. But they don't feel like this should have ever existed. This is not as nearly as intense as the original. It's not at all. There's not even any tension in this movie. It's uncomfortable at moments, but not uncomfortable like you're getting that energy from the movie. It's uncomfortable to watch because it's just drawing out. Yeah. It is not as shocking as the original, directed by Veronica Franz and Severin Fiala, but it is a dark psychological thriller. I wouldn't give it that name. It's a film that seemingly aims to be average, but unlike so many other remakes, it actually achieves that goal. Wow. This is an unsettling psychological horror movie that's slightly dragged down by horror movie cliches. Even if Goodnight Mommy doesn't hold a mirror to its source material, it still makes for a run-of-the-mill watch, led by Watts doing what she does best. I will say that. I agree with this reviewer. I agree with that. I agree that Naomi Watts does hold quite of the weight in this film, but the twins actually do amazing to me. The level of emotions that they portray on their characters is great, and especially at the end, the twin that played Elias, awesome, great. Like he made me feel at the end. He did. When he broke down in that barn, when he broke down in his mom's arms in that bedroom, even when he was upset with her and he was like, moms don't do that. Moms don't tear up their swords pictures. They sing them to bed, and I felt him. He did great. So his acting, I will give that. Though the weight was held by Naomi, but her supporting actors were great. Maybe the worst thing this forgettable remake does is associate Goodnight Mommy with being soft and dull, when the original is absolutely something much more severe and scarring. Well, the original will leave you with some memorable scenes, because that ending that's the true horror. This movie does not have any horror to me. It's just more of a suspenseful drama. I'll give it that. You know, they could have played this on NBC. That's how No horror, nothing. You don't even see anything horrific. They never show a dead body. They never show any of that. I don't even think we really see blood. You know? So, I would have to agree. My rating for this movie is a 5.5. And all 5.5 points go to the talent. And I hate to say that because I don't want to disrespect the original producers of this film. Y'all's version, dynamite. If I watched that movie and did a reaction to it, off of what I saw in reviews and recaps, I would have gave it a solid 8. Probably an 8.5. But this movie is lackluster in comparison. And if I had nothing to... And I'll be fair. Let's say I had nothing to compare it to. Let's say the 2015 version never existed. This movie is still missing elements to make it better. And if I had saw this, not seen the original, the level of predictable in it is not good. I mean, I figured it out. I could see and I did know that the kid was gone, but still, even if I didn't know the kid gone, I'm pretty sure I would have figured out that Lucas was dead before it was revealed. You know what I'm saying? And I would have been disappointed to know that no, Naomi was actually a human. So all of this was delusion, because that could have been a very good turn of this plot. If they really would have made her not be their mom. Like, dude, no, she really is an imposter. She really is something else. Now, that would have sold this remake. Because that would have been a wholly tables turn idea to the original that I think would have excited audiences. I'm speaking for myself, but I do think others would have been like, yeah, that would have been great. Yes, she really is not their mom. You know what I mean? But we didn't get that. And for the time and effort that was put into it, and the talent and emotion that I saw this cast put in, you know what? I'll bump it up. I'll give it a 6. 6 out of 10 from Clubhouse 81. On Goodnight Mommy, Amazon Prime. If you have a subscription, it is free. Listen, thank you guys for hanging out with me on this Friday night. It felt good to be back on this original slot, because tomorrow we have a new show coming to you guys live. Please subscribe if you do not want to miss what's coming tomorrow. I am very excited to do this. So be there. Come hang out with me tomorrow. Until then, hit the thumbs up button for your girl. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys later on in the next reaction. Thank you guys. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. And peace, everybody. Woo! Okay, I'm out of here being silly because I'm hungry and I'm ready to eat dinner. I hope you guys had a good one. Bye.